morning.
Good morning.
Black Power.
Black Power.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
Hotep.
Hotep.
Black laws for all black people. My name is Dashan Farad. I'm the media coordinator for the Black Men's Convention / March set to take place April 17th through the 22nd in Washington, D.C. at Shiloh Baptist Church, as well as in front of the Big Chair. In response to the rampant racism and the killings of black men and black people in general across the country at the hands of racist police officers, and in response to the rampant rise of white supremacy on steroids, which we see coming out of the White House, and in response to a very obviously racist, xenophobic President Donald J. Trump, we, the Black Men's Movement / Convention / March, are calling this event April 17th through the 22nd to bring attention to this racism in the White House, as well as to the plight of black people, the black man in particular. We are calling this press conference in response to President Trump's recent horrific racist comments towards our Haitian and African brothers and sisters. This president is an example of what, when President Donald Trump says that he wishes to make America great again, he's really saying that he wants to make America white again. President Donald Trump is actually what the United States democracy represents. So we are calling this press conference to bring attention to that. We are calling this press conference to bring attention to the rapid racism that he is increasing across this country. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to hear from several speakers who are going to be helping us, or who are on board fully with the Black Men's March / Convention set to take place this April. We ask that our speakers keep it very limited, no more than 3 minutes. So first, just to let you know, afterwards, we're going to have a brief Q&A. We're going to hear from Attorney Malik Zulu-Jabaz, who is the main coordinator for this event, also the National Executive Director for Black Lawyers for Justice. We're going to hear from him at the end. We promise not to keep you too long. We promise to be long, but not be long, but be strong. So first, I'm going to bring up the lovely young lady, a fiery warrior queen, a journalist, a reverend, brilliant theologian and activist, the Reverend Dr. Jeanette Pollard.
Thank you so much, and welcome. I am Reverend Jeanette Marie Pollard, and I'm also a licensed and certified mental health therapist for many years. We're here today because we live in a country that is being run by those, as Romans 12:3 says, who think more highly of themselves than they ought. In fact, we live in a country where the top leaders seem to exhibit some behaviors that the American Psychiatric Association has identified in its authoritative Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders as personality disorders, which are described in part as a pervasive pattern of disregard for and violation of the rights of others, deceitful as in repeated lying, irritability and aggressiveness, lack of remorse as indicated by indifference to or rationalizing having hurt or mistreated another, is uncomfortable in situations in which he or she is not the center of attention, lacks empathy and an unwillingness to recognize or identify with the feelings and needs of others. Interactions with others is often characterized by inappropriate sexually, seductive, or provocative, and inappropriate and frequent displays of intense anger. The thing speaks for itself. Now, what are we going to do about it? Amen.
Amen.
I would like to bring on the National Minister of Justice, the New Black Panther Party, under the leadership of the Honorable Minister Hashim Nzinga, Brother Minister Imam Akbar K. Bilal.
Thank you, Brother Rashad. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful benefactor, the most merciful redeemer, praises be to Allah, the guardian, the evolver, the cherisher, and the sustainer of all of the worlds. I bear witness that none deserves the rights of worship, as none deserving the right to be conformed to, except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. That is in the name of Allah. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Praise the God the evolver, the originator of the heavens and the earth. We're thankful to all of those in the Black Power movement, the New Black Panther Party for self-defense. I am the Minister of Justice. I have nowhere to pass the baton. So I must receive the baton and carry out justice, because justice must prevail.
Yes, sir.
And we have been asked strongly by Dr. and Attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz. Give him a round of applause for organizing the We have been asked by the Attorney and Dr. Malik Zulu Shabazz to not use the expletives today, but we're going to articulate expletives in the manner of the so-called President of the United States, who I've articulated correctly as Donald the Duck Trump.
That's right.
He has ducked the issues of black people. He has ducked domestic policy. He has ducked the foreign policy. But he can't duck the fact that I have labeled him and correctly articulated him as the reincarnation of Andrew Johnson, who was the Abraham Lincoln, which is where the big gap is. And Dr. King said that 70 years, there was a signing of an Emancipation Proclamation. But yet 100 years later, he described as the Negro and the black man, woman, and child still is not free. Because Andrew Johnson had lived up to his title, and his nickname was Sir Veto, and he had vetoed nearly the entire Emancipation Proclamation. And that is one of the blocks to the freedom. But Dr. King said the small things you could do to get free, to take your money out of his bank and manage your own wealth. He said to go ahead and move in a direction of unity, because the reason he articulated that they had killed baby girl in the church and baby boy today in the church and baby girls in our church, because you have failed to activate. And when you fail to activate and motivate, and when he commanded you to mass protest against it, you begin to clear. So he asked you to stand up, as Dr. Malcolm X commanded you to stand up. As the Honorable Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad commanded you to stand up. As the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad commanded you to stand up. As the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey commanded you to stand up.
Yes, sir.
As all of those who came from Demavizi all the way up to today, the Honorable Dr. and Chairman and the Attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz is commanding you to stand up and confront your vicious enemy in the personage of the President of the United States, Donald the Duck Trump. And he has lived up to all of the racism and bigotry in the history. He threw out all of the constitutional rights, all of the inalienable rights, all of the concepts of the biblical thou shalt not kill. But then all of the family values went out as well. So if you start at Benjamin Banneker and work forward to Frederick Douglass, you can get us free in this hour. Use what they have given us, brother and sister. Use the best of your strength, the best of your articulation, the best of your education, your economics, and your wealth. Support a woman like Oprah Winfrey, who knows how to address it. Use the concept of what Gil Scott-Heron, and you'll see manifest the President of the United States have been in disguise as the devil himself. So we must fight together, unite all the righteous against the enemies, and fight against tyranny and oppression until there is no more tyranny and no more oppression in the land. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. And black power. Black power. Black power. Black power. Black power. Black power. Strong black military to black that call. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, family, we're now going to hear from Brother Shaw, who's from out of New York City. He represents the Black Men's Movement / Convention. He also is a member of the Universal Negro Improvement Association. Let's welcome him on with a strong black round of applause.
Thank you. Black power, everybody, black power.
Black power. Black power.
First, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for coming out. You know, we have a call to action, and there's some serious action that we're going to have to take. I'd like to give thanks to my brother Malik Zulu Shabazz for convening this action on behalf of all of us. As my brother Iman Akbar said about Donald Duck, quack, 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 we coming for you. We coming to get rid of you. I'd like to ask a question. He said, make America great again. When was America ever great? And what was America ever great at? Now we know that's a lie. But once again, I'm going to keep this short and sweet, as I am one of the organizers of the Black Men's Movement in New York and the Black Men's Convention, and I want New York City to come out strong. It is a call to action for us as black men and black women to make America great, for a change. Make America great for everybody for a change. And we got to get rid of that quack Donald Duck. Thank you all. Come on out. Join us. Let's make this happen together. Upward, bound, all of us. Let's empower and uplift our black people. Thank you, black people.
Thank you, family, just to remind you, the Black Men's Convention / March will be taking place right here in Washington, D.C., April 17th through the 22nd at Shiloh Baptist Church. Should I say the historic Shiloh Baptist Church. And then in March, the march will be taking place in front of the historic Big Chair in Southeast D.C. We want to emphasize, we are calling for 10,000 black men to show up. 10,000. We're not telling sisters that they can't show up, but we are calling for 10,000 black men strong to show up, to demand that we stand up for our communities, we clean up our communities. We're going to move this right along right now. And by the way, you can check us out on our website at theblackmensmovement.org to get a full program, to get specifics. Check us out on Facebook as well. We're now going to bring up the Washington, D.C. representative of the Lost Foundation of Islam under the leadership of the Honorable Minister Silas Muhammad, who for decades has been pushing hard for reparations for Afro-Asiatic descendants. We're going to bring on this strong warrior of the Honorable Minister Silas Muhammad. Let us welcome with a strong black hand round of applause, Brother Minister Najib Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum. Walaikum salam, sir. It is indeed an honor to be here today. I want to thank Attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz for putting on such a great event, Black Men's Convention. It is time that the black man unite.
Yes, sir.
It is time for him to join arms with one another. It is time for the black man to start reasoning with one another.
Amen.
Yes, sir.
It is time for us to unify all across America.
Amen.
Yes, sir.
It is time. Can't you feel the wind of change?
Yes.
Can't you feel it? I can. And I thank Attorney Shabazz for establishing and putting all of this together and calling us into unity. There have been 4 major marches on Washington in the past 20 years. But we need to get beyond just lectures. This is about the call to action.
Yes.
Am I right or wrong?
Yes, sir.
Right. So we need action. And I thank Attorney Shabazz for putting this program together. I'm looking forward for the Honorable Silas Muhammad to come to Washington, D.C.
That's right.
and deliver a keynote address. A man that it's kind of hard for me to describe, but a man who is meek, humble,
Yes, sir.
righteous, truthful, loving, and he has an undying love for black people.
Yes, sir.
He's going to come to Washington, D.C.
Yes, sir.
and speak to the United States government. He has a message for Donald Trump.
That's right.
He has a message for Congress for the gross human rights violations. Do you understand the damage? Do you know, do you really, truly understand the damage that has been done to us as a people? Do you know that the slave masters, meaning George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, do you know that they wiped away our ancestors' memory? Do you know that they destroyed their language, their culture, their history?
Yes, sir.
Do you know that they were rendered a nothing people? 310 years working without a payday. Don't you know that somebody got to pay for that?
Yes, sir.
We're in the position that we're in because our ancestors
were in chains for 310 years. It was against the law to own property. It was against the law to pass wealth to their offspring. For 310 years, they couldn't pass anything to their offspring. So that's a 310-year gap. Economic gap, economic disparity. If we don't stand up and do something about it, don't you know we will be doing our ancestors a great disservice?
That's right.
Yes, sir.
That's right. That's right.
Each and every one of us represent our own family tree.
That's right.
I can't stand up for you, but you got to stand up for yourself and your family tree. Now, you can stay at home if you want to, but if your ancestors could look from the grave and see that you didn't stand up, what do you think they would be thinking? Donald Trump, Donald J. Trump. Donald Trump has a habit of calling himself the least racist person.
Teach. Teach on that.
After saying racist things.
Teach.
I want President Trump, the members of Congress, and those that support him to know that a racist is a racist is a racist is a racist.
Teach on.
Regardless of place and time. One moment he says he's referring to himself as the least racist person, and the next moment he says he's not racist. Well, Mr. Trump, a racist is a whether you're the least racist or the most racist, you're still a racist.
Yes, sir.